Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, A2D Radio, welcome to the Sports Hounds, BMW Atlantic City Studios. To my right, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby producing as usual. I'm Rob Brinkman with you till 10 o'clock, 10-9-8, 76ers on our mind. The first half hour, we're going to have Roger Fry from CaliforniaWagering.com. CaliforniaWinning.com. Thank you, Brad. He's going to come on at 8:30. He's going to handicap the Kentucky Derby for us, which is Saturday, Cinco de Mayo, Derby Day. A lot of stuff going on. NFL Draft, there were winners and losers. We'll talk about them. NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. Yankees, Astros, Phillies playing well. A lot to get into, but Sixers just about to tip off here in Boston for the second round. Brad, I really like the Sixers. Vegas really likes the Sixers in this series. I think they polish them off in 6 games.
If that.
Wow.
If that. I mean, let's be honest. Without Kyrie Irving, it's really that takes the sting out of the series. I mean, it's going to be very hard for Boston to match up. And the one kid who has a tight hamstring and may not be able to play.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown.
I mean, that's just kind of rubbing salt in the wound for Boston. They're not at full strength, and this time of year, health makes a big difference. If the Celtics are not going to be at full strength, I just don't see how they're going to beat the Sixers, who right now are just cruising
Maybe
along.
I'm being a little too generous giving us a Scanzano Sports poll question of the night. Who's going to win the series? Celtics, Sixers. Made it real simple for everyone. I got the Sixers in 6.
Yeah, I got
Brad,
them in 5.
In 5.
Yeah, I think this is going to.
I think the Sixers might lose this game 1.
No, I think the Sixers are going to demolish them. I really do.
Demolish them?
Yeah, I just don't see how Boston matches up.
I mean, I get it. The talent level from a player standpoint
Listen, the Sixers
isn't there. The Sixers have by far the 2 best players in the court. You can make the argument that Dario Saric is also better than anyone on the Celtics.
The Celtics
I think Al Horford and Jason Tatum would have something to say about that.
The Celtics have good players on their team. I'm not saying they don't, but they're not going to be able to match up with the Sixers.
But,
not without Irving, and certainly not without Brown. I mean, that's just that you're asking too much. If you think Boston is going to be able to match up. Now, honestly, if Boston was healthy, I think Boston would beat them. But I don't think that they're going to beat them especially without Kyrie Irving. You're missing a top 5 player in the league. That's too much to expect.
Top 5, that's a little much. He's very good. He's
Irving,
very good.
I think he's one of the.
He's very good.
When it comes to scoring, he certainly is.
But you look back at the last series against the Heat. Even without Kyrie Irving, the Heat don't have nearly the amount of talent that the Celtics do, and that the Sixers had to go to 6 games to beat them. They were pests. They were annoying. They were well coached. There's a lot of similarities between the team.
Was it 6 or? Yeah, it was 6.
It was 6. They won
I thought
at home.
It was 6 or 5. No, it was 5, wasn't it?
No. It was 6 games. Unless I'm
okay
all hopped up on coffee and losing my mind.
Okay, I just what I think the Sixers are. Don't forget the first couple of games they did not have Joel Embiid.
That's a
either.
good point.
Now they're going to have Embiid. Embiid also now has played, so the rust is now off his game.
He's not the same with that stupid mask on. You can tell he hates it.
Yeah, I understand that, but the Sixers are just impossible to handle right now. The Boston Celtics are not the kind of team that can handle the Sixers. They'll be competitive. I think they'll stay in every game. They play very, very tough defensively. They're a tough physical team. They're not going to let them score 130 points. But I just don't think the Celtics have the horses to compete with the Heat. With the Sixers. They just don't.
I agree with you. What do you think has to happen for the Celtics to beat the Sixers?
They have to keep the scores low. You have to have low scoring.
Both teams are very good defensive teams.
I know, but the Celtics are going to have to. You're going to have 98, 92, 100 to 94. You're going to have to have games like that. If the scores start getting in the 110s and the 115s, the Celtics do not have the firepower to keep up with the Sixers.
I would certainly agree with that.
Don't. I mean, it's that simple. If it's a ugly, old time Nick Indiana Pacer type series from the 90s, okay, where it's like 58-54 in the middle of the third quarter, that's the kind of series Boston has to try to make it. And if they can't make it if it's 90-88 midway through the third quarter, the Sixers are going to run them off the court. The Sixers have more depth, more scoring, and as far as the three-point shooting, they're a team that at any time can light it up and score, 12 to 15 points in 2 minutes. I don't think the Celtics can do that.
Hey, you might have a point there. Mike Parker checking in. Mike Parker 4-1. Embiid's rested. Horford has nothing for JoJo. Sixers in 5.
That's what I think. As far as 5, I think it's going to be 5. I think it's going to be a very quick series.
A quick series. I would love a quick series
because
I think the Cavaliers.
I think the Sixers win game 1. I think the Celtics come back and win game 2.
Hey, we split in Boston. However you want to slice it up, I'm fine with.
Yeah,
and then split in Boston.
And then the Sixers win the 2 games at home to make it 3-1, and then they put them away. And I think the game 4, the Sixers are going to run them off the court and have all the momentum, and that'll be the end of it.
Sixers are monster favorites in Vegas,
as they should be.
Minus 395 on the money line to win the series. I was very shocked by that. I'm not shocked the Sixers were favored because they're a better team, but that was way higher of a figure than I was expecting when I looked it up in prepping for the show.
We have F. Petros saying, "Hey folks, the Sixers are going to the Eastern Finals against the Raptors." Mark my words. We both guarantee
we'll see what LeBron James.
We both
has to
agree
say
with you about that, but
well, I didn't pick the Raptors to win anything. I think the Sixers are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, I think the Raptors are going to take care of.
I tend to agree
Cleveland.
with you, but boy, it's hard to bet against LeBron right now.
Yeah, but LeBron
Did you see him yesterday? He was an absolute animal.
But Toronto is better than Indiana.
I agreed. Toronto's the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, Toronto.
Deservingly so. They have a lot of great players. They have a great coach.
Toronto's better than Indiana. LeBron can't beat them by himself. Unless somebody
He's
else
need help.
Yeah, he's going to need
Kyle Korver and Kevin Love really stepped up yesterday in Game 7 when LeBron had cramps.
Are they going to be able to do that 4 times?
If they want to win, they're going to have to.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
I think I would trust Kyle Korver more than Kevin Love to come up big, as goofy
Kyle
and weird
Korver,
as that sound.
Kyle Korver has the ability to do that. I mean, Kyle Korver's the kind of guy that can score.
Kyle Korver was tossing dimes around in Game 7 like I've never seen him in my life
Kyle Korver
before.
can score 15 points in a minute, rather in 2 minutes. He can pop 5 threes. He's like James Harden. If he gets hot, he starts hitting shot and he starts getting open shots. He can go on a run and break a game open for you.
Now, the point that Mike made about Horford not having anything for JoJo, I think he's got a little something for JoJo. If JoJo's on, Al Horford's not going to be able to do anything just because of the height difference. But Al Horford is a phenomenal defender and has been
Sixers, I'm sorry, the Celtics are going to have to double team him, okay, to stop him underneath. And if they have to double team him with the shooters that the Sixers have, it's going to be darn near impossible for the Celtics.
And I agree with all your points. I'm sort of kind of playing devil's advocate because I think Sixers Nation is a little too cocky heading into the series. This is going to be a battle of a series. Like I said, if the Heat series went 6 games, this series could go 7 games.
I don't think it will. I just can't. I can't see it. The Celtics are missing too many guys.
The Celtics. Let me ask you this: who's a better coach, Brett Brown or Brad Stevens?
Probably Stevens.
Slightly.
Yeah, I give it.
Just because I think Brad Stevens is a better coach than Brett Brown doesn't mean I think Brett Brown is a bad coach. I was very critical of Brett Brown for a lot of years.
Stevens is a very good coach.
And I've had to ease up on him because they actually run sets and run inbounds plays now, which is something I never thought I would see a Brett Brown team do.
Well, maybe because he just didn't have the talent to do it before.
You can still run plays and have a set. We don't need to rehash that argument.
Okay.
Those days were.
Well, they're over.
They're over. They're here.
They're over. They're history. I mean, listen, you guys went through a lot of losing to get to this point, but now But now, you know what? It's all come to fruition. You've got a great team now. I just can't see this going more than 5, maybe 6. I mean, we got Dion Brown thinking that this is going to go 7.
I agree with Dion.
He can see it go 7, but he thinks 6 as well. 6 seems to be the consensus. I guess everybody's going to pick 6 because Game 6 is in Philly, and everybody's feeling that the Sixers will close them out in their own building. I think the Sixers could close. I would love to see them close them out in Boston and hear those Boston fans crying. That would just be such.
Brad Ryer pulling for a Philly team.
Well, they're playing.
Holy
Boston.
shit!
It's a
folks.
miracle.
Yeah,
Holy shit, ladies!
But they're playing.
Frank,
Boston.
mark the time.
Yeah.
Mark the tape. We're going to tell everybody.
It'll be documented.
No
on
one's going to
YouTube.
believe it. If they weren't listening to this show, they would never believe
Listen,
us.
But if you're
Holy
if you're a Knick fan and you've heard Clyde Frazier over the years as the color commentator, his hate for the Celtics runs through all Knick fans.
So, wow, you really don't like Boston.
No, I don't like the Boston Celtics.
I never really understood until right now how much you don't like Boston.
No, I do not like the Boston Celtics. I can't stand
so
them.
you're
I can't
rooting.
stand.
You're openly rooting for a Philadelphia team in this series.
Yeah, I hope they get destroyed by Toronto, but I'm rooting for them to beat Boston.
Of course.
Well, what if it's the Cavs?
I root for the Cavs to destroy them as well, but at this point, I just want Boston out. I mean, I can't.
Mataraki, what's up, Mike? Sixers and 6. He agrees with me. Greg Milikovic, what's up, fellas? Sixers and 6. Split first 2, then sweep the home games. Let's go. I think Greg just hit it right on the head. I think I share his opinion. I think the Sixers might lose tonight, win Game 2.
Do you think they're going to be rusty?
I don't know.
Is that going to be the issue? Because I mean, the only reason I could see them lose tonight.
Boston's,
they are rested.
you know, the Sixers, they're coming off a little rest. Boston beat a very talented, I don't want to say they're good, but a talented Bucks team in the first round.
And scrappy.
Scrappy Bucks team. They were able to pretty much dominate Game 7 in their own building. So their confidence is really sky high right now. Jaylen Brown is hurt. So
That's
we'll
a big
see.
loss.
That is a big loss, especially with Kyrie out as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing 2 top players. They are also missing their center, who's been out the whole season. I mean, but they played without him all season, so that can't be really.
Horford. They have Horford down
Horford
there.
is not bad.
He's fine. Horford is great. Horford is
he's a significantly better player than most people would give you credit for. I mean,
he's so underrated.
He's a very good player.
He's an All-NBA
He's just not-
defender.
he's
He can
just not-
shoot.
He's just not
mid-range J.
He's not Embiid.
He's got post moves. No, he's not. No, he's not Embiid.
And I guess my question. I know he's a big rangy guy, but can he keep Embiid out from underneath the basket?
I mean,
I don't think he can.
Can anybody in the whole NBA do that if Embiid wants to?
Maybe the Greek Freak, but I mean, you know, that's even. I mean, he can even go in against him. I mean, really, I mean, who's going to keep him out from underneath the basket if he wants to go there? And you know, Joel can go outside and drain threes and get him away from the basket so that the Sixers can run their plays and go to the rim. I mean, that's what makes them so good.
Look at
and so
Ralphie.
dangerous.
Look at Ralphie, Mr. Philadelphia, picking Boston in 7.
Well, here's the thing. Ralph is a huge Los Angeles Lakers fan.
So
Yeah.
why would he want
Let
to-
that sink in.
Why would he root for the Celtics?
So why would he root for the Celtics?
Because he hates rooting for the Sixers.
Well,
Brad is the biggest Philly hater on the
hate-
face
The
of the
fact
earth, and he's
that
even rooting for the Sixers.
Brad,
Boston
the New
sucks.
York loving, Philly hating fan, is rooting for the Sixers more than the Celtics.
It's a smart bet. I mean,
It's-
he's getting 4-1 on his money
I get it.
if he puts his money where his
Yeah.
mouth is.
I mean, if you're in it for like the money line, I guess that's it. But
You're throwing,
come on,
you're
Ralph.
throwing your money
If
down
I
the
was betting
drain.
tonight, I would
Ralph,
take the
Ralph,
I would take the
Ralph.
Celtics plus 4.5.
If you want to listen, if you want to take a team that's an underdog, you know, try the Cavaliers on for size. They're
What's
an
what's
underdog.
that? What's that? I didn't see that when I was looking at the lines. That one wasn't up
I would
yet.
assume the Raptors are favored in that series.
Frank, can you look up
against
the
Cleveland?
series price on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
at
all they
least take a
wanted. There
live
we go.
dog because
Well, LeBron, I'm taking grenades on social media again for defending LeBron.
well, LeBron is great, but LeBron can't beat them by himself. No way. I don't know about the Sixers going to the NBA Finals. I don't think they're beating the Raptors. So, but
Is that you talking, or are you
No,
reading a
that's-
YouTube comment?
well, I'm reading F. Petros again. If they pull off a miracle against the Raptors, they go to the finals. Yeah, they would have to be. That would be a miracle.
Is that a
because-
miracle, though? I get it would be an upset according to Vegas, but is that a miracle?
No,
The Sixers winning 4 out of 7 games against the Toronto Raptors?
No,
that's
that's
not a miracle.
That's not a miracle.
It's an upset, slight
It's an
upset,
upset.
I would agree with.
Yeah, that's not a miracle.
But
If-
if the Sixers go out and wipe the floor with the Celtics and
If-
sweep them, then
if
I would
the
consider them the
Jazz-
favorites
If
against.
the Jazz beat Houston, that would be a miracle.
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
That's
I
a
agree with you there.
miracle, okay?
If the Pelicans beat the Warriors,
That's a miracle as well. Even without
These
Stephon,
Eastern
Ooh.
Conference series,
Wow.
even without Stephon Curry, it's still a miracle.
none of these 4 teams representing the East in the finals wouldn't surprise me. Whether it's the
No,
Celtics,
It wouldn't be shocked. Well,
the,
the Celtics, I'd
the-
be shocked. The other,
you'd be
the other
shocked if the Celtics went to the finals.
Three, I would be shocked.
Shocked is a strong word for that.
I would be shocked if they got to the finals. The Sixers, Raptors, or Cavs, I would not be shocked. I would be shocked if the Celtics got to the finals.
I don't know
with
if
the
I'd be
players they're putting-
shocked. I would
with
be surprised.
No, I'd be shocked at this point because for them to go through the Sixers and most likely the Raptors or the Cavs to get to the finals, I would be shocked if they could win those 2 series.
I hope LeBron beats the Raptors so bad.
Well, right now for their game one,
gonna be hard.
the Cavs are actually the underdog. They are 6.5-point underdogs against the Raptors in game
That's
one.
in Toronto, obviously.
In Toronto.
That does
What
not
about
surprise
for the
me at all.
series though?
What about
For the
series?
series, let me take a look and see. Let me figure this out. Thanks, Google. Helping me out.
All right, so I think we're both in agreement. Sixers are going to win this series.
I think so. I think it ends after this though, but you know, for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, the first year that they make the playoffs would be one hell of a season anyway. You're playing with house money regardless, because they weren't supposed to be this far this year. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, what happens if the Raptors get through Cleveland and they're all banged up and they're missing a couple of guys?
Deion Brown, the Sixers have
never
to
know.
dominate in the paint and hit the open shots. I totally agree with that, but, I mean, they've been doing that for, what, month and a half?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, I have no doubt that they're going to continue to do that.
Mr. Petros has toned it down a little bit, and now he says it may just be a strong upset. Good job.
Yeah.
Now you're
That's all
yeah.
right.
Miracle, Miracle. You got carried away a little bit,
Yeah, it's
but
a
that's
sports
okay.
house, man. If you get
We-
worked
we
up,
do get- listen,
sometimes you say,
we all get
it's all right.
We all get
forgive
carried
'em.
away. We all get carried away. As far as I'm concerned, I just can't stand the Boston Celtics. I can't stand any team from Boston, to be quite honest with you. I mean,
Deion Brown has a lot to say about the draft, so we'll
well,
stay tuned
we
to
can
that.
get to that. We can get that. We can
We
get
will.
to that. And
About
we had
10
some-
minutes, we're going to
I
talk
had
about the
some-
Kentucky Derby.
I had some very good arguments with some of my friends who are Giant fans about what the hell they talking about bashing Barkley. Are you kidding me?
What are you saying? Sorry, I was reading some of the comments.
They're bashing the Giants for taking and bashing Gettleman because they took Barkley.
I don't understand.
Oh, they wanted one of the quarterbacks.
I don't understand. Which one?
They wanted Darnold.
What?
Oh, they all
Why?
think he's going to be the next Aaron Rodgers.
Cleveland plus 168, Raptors minus 193 for the series. Thank you, Greg.
That's,
Look at that.
As I
Citing
said,
his work
There
in
we
proper
go.
MLA format. BetOnline.com. That's good work out of Greg there. Plus 168. I thought it'd be bigger than that. I thought the Cavs would be bigger dogs than that. LeBron getting a lot of love out there
Oh,
in
it
Vegas.
was 198. I
Yeah,
thought
a
you
lot of
said.
people are putting, of course,
The Cavs
LeBron
are plus
lovers.
Oh,
168. so
the
you
Cavs
get
are okay.
1.6 on your money. You got to plop down 193 bones to win 100 for the Raptors to win.
I don't know that I think that the Raptors going to win, but I wouldn't be that confident to bet to
As
bet
others
2
in
to
our
1.
industry would say, I would consider that a strong Cleveland line.
Yeah.
That's a Cavs line for the series.
So You think so? So they're.
I
going-
don't think.
No,
I haven't made it. I haven't made it.
They're giving you.
I want
2
it.
to
My
1.
head's telling me to pick the Raptors, but I don't know if I can do it officially on the record. I don't think I can
Well,
pick
on the
against
record,
LeBron unless he's playing the Sixers.
On the record, I think it's time for Toronto to put up or shut up. And if they can't
Well,
get
Greg
through
brought
this
it up
year-
earlier. They always wilt against LeBron in the playoffs.
But LeBron's team is not as good as it's been.
But
in the past.
LeBron is just
I understand that, but you know, what?
unreal right now.
Yeah, he is.
It's astonishing how he gets better with age, exponentially better with age.
Age doesn't seem to affect him.
It doesn't at all. It's just every new season comes around and LeBron puts up a career year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter. I mean,
And if LeBron James does not win the fucking MVP award and that mutt James Harden wins, I will have an aneurysm here on the Sports Hounds.
no, don't do that.
The Monday after that award is announced.
Don't do that. Don't do
For
that.
LeBron James to have this team of complete dogs in the second round of the playoffs,
He doesn't have Kyrie. He doesn't have Kyrie on his team.
he doesn't have
anymore.
anybody on his team.
No.
These dudes stink. Rodney Hood is terrible. George Hill is terrible. And Jordan Clarkson is terrible.
And we thought Jordan Clarkson wouldn't be a bad addition.
But he can't play. I mean,
He's
he
just
doesn't
not,
do anything.
No,
he
just
doesn't do
stands
anything.
around. He stands.
Larry
around.
Nance is he's a nice little player. He's not good, but he tries his best out there. Kevin Love, I don't know what his deal is. I don't get it.
Kevin Love is too talented a player to be to just. I mean, he's one of these guys. It just seems like he'll go to sleep, then he wakes up for maybe 10 minutes and plays for 10 minutes and then goes back to sleep. I mean, you can never get him to stay intense for a whole game. I mean, if you could. I mean, it wasn't like that when he was on Minnesota.
No. Well, he's older. He's always hurt. Michael Chromiak, Sixers have to continue to control the glass. Offensive rebounding will be huge. I looked it up online today. The Celtics, not the Sixers, are actually the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. So that could be a big swing factor.
Well, they
That's a
have
good
to.
point there
They're
by
gonna
Mark.
have. They're gonna have to allow. They're gonna have to make sure that they don't control the boards. That's basically what they're saying.
Jose Colon, formerly Jose from Norristown, if you're listen to some of the FM stations in our immediate area. What up, yo? Kevin McHale, number 32, doing color. Brad, what are your thoughts on Kevin McHale?
Do I really need to answer that?
Absolutely. Why would you not
Kevin
answer
McHale
my question?
He was a great player, but it's just like, you know, when
Is it safe? Is it a safe assumption that you don't like him?
not one bit. I like him about as much as I used to like having to hear that annoying Tommy Heinsohn when he was a broadcaster, and then having to hear Bill Russell all those years. Always Celtics in the broadcasting booth. I mean, you know, and the Celtics always in the playoffs and beating the hell out of everybody. Just you know, they can't lose by enough. Sorry.
9-8 Sixers midway through the first quarter.
Well,
So,
hopefully
good start.
Hopefully that will continue.
Jeez, look at the Marlins putting up a 4 spot already on the Phillies.
Who's pitching for the Phillies?
Jake Arrieta, not a good go of it.
Yeah, but let's be honest, okay? Does it really matter who's pitching for the Marlins?
Clearly, I mean it's
They all
4-2.
stink.
We'll see.
All the Marlins pitchers. Well, no, there is one guy that's not bad. That guy that gave up one hit combined against the Mets and Yankees was pretty good. I can't remember what his name was, but he's not bad. But the rest of them, forget it. How about, speaking of baseball? How about the Tampa Bay Rays taking 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox this weekend?
Yeah, how proud of them are you?
And it should have been 3 out of 3, because I'll be honest with you, the Rays yesterday had runners on second and third, and 1 out in the 9th inning against Kimbrel, but they spit the bit and couldn't bring in the runs, and they lost by a run. But how hysterical would it have been had Kimbrel come in and blown that game? That would have been priceless. But that's okay. Listen, we got it back. We got Boston back to within 2 games again after that great start. The market correction has occurred. Yankee fans, we're not afraid of Boston. There's no reason for us to be
No,
afraid
the
of
Yankees
Boston.
are better than I tell you this every time you freak out on Facebook about whoever, Boone
Well,
or Stanton.
I'm still not happy with Stanton. He's still been useless.
Stop. Send him down to Philadelphia. We'll put him in right field instead of Aaron Altair or Nick Williams.
Well, speaking of right field, he's going to be in right field tonight against the Astros because I heard Aaron Judge is getting a night off.
Give him a night off against the Astros?
Well,
That's weak sauce.
He struck out 7 times in the last 2
Come
games.
on.
So
Like,
Boone has
you
decided.
kidding me with these?
Boone
So
has
what?
decided to strike.
Aaron Judge could strike out 14, 15
Yeah, I know.
times in a row, and he would still be in the 3-hole every night for me.
Yeah, well, actually,
Every night.
He's
without
actually
even
he's actually in the 2-hole, but
whatever.
Didi is now in the 3-hole.
Near the top. Well, Didi Gregorius might be the American League MVP if the season ended today.
But what he's done, the April he's had is ridiculous. With 10 home runs and 30 RBIs out of a shortstop, that's unheard of. Can't remember a shortstop ever doing that.
Jose from Norristown, Sixers in 6 games. So that seems to be the consensus there, Brad. Sixers in 6 games.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's a very legitimate pick, and the reason it's a legitimate pick is because everybody's expecting the Sixers to clinch it at home. I think the Sixers get it done earlier. I think they're going to be efficient, and they're going to dispose of the Celtics quickly. I just don't see I think the games will be competitive, but I just again unless the Celtics keep these games in the 90s, I don't see them being able to outscore Philly. I think Philly scores too many points for the Celtics to win.
I mean, the game's going how we talked about it needed to go for the Celtics to have a chance in the series.
Well, what's the score
right 10-9 halfway through the first quarter. More than halfway through the first quarter.
Okay.
Celtics hold a 10-9 lead.
That's the kind of game that the Celtics are going to have to play in order to beat the Sixers, for sure. They cannot go running up and down the court with them. Most definitely not. Some of the other series, Rob, you like Cleveland to beat
I don't
Toronto?
know. Let's skip. Give me a pass on that one.
All right, what about
No, the Warriors are going to win in
the Warriors?
4.
Do the Warriors have any problems with the Pelicans?
No.
You don't think the
They're gonna
Pelicans
win in
can
4.
win one?
I wish the Pelicans had Boogie because I think that would be extremely interesting
It would.
with those 2 bigs down low.
Yeah, it would. It would make the series competitive.
But, yeah, I got the Warriors in a sweep. I have the Rockets in a sweep.
You don't think that the Jazz can win one game?
No. Well, maybe, but that's not what I'm
I'm
thinking.
going to give them
No,
one game.
because
and-
they're both going to be sweeps because these 2 teams have been on a collision course for the Western Conference Finals, which is going to be an epic war,
Oh, yeah.
7-game war.
But if Curry
go to
isn't
the-
playing for the Warriors against
Curry's going to play in game 2. He's probable. What's today? Monday? Did they play yesterday? No, they played Saturday night. So they're probably playing tonight after the Sixers on TNT. They are playing after the Sixers on TNT.
So if they're playing after the Sixers,
Steph Curry will be in the lineup.
Oh,
The
then
Warriors
then
are going to
the
win
Warriors
by
will
20
roll.
points.
So, and he'll be
And
ready
we're
to
gonna
go
have
for
we're gonna have
Houston.
a great Western Conference final. We're gonna have a 7-game Western Conference final war.
Yeah, between which is unquestionably the 2 top teams in the league,
Correct.
and they'll face the team that wins in the East, and they'll probably
Yeah, I like the Sixers
Win
obviously
fairly
in
easily.
6. We talked about that. I'll pick the Cavs in 7.
yeah. I'll go the
I'll pick the Cavs in 7.
I'll go the Raptors in 6.
I think LeBron gets it done.
Yeah, I just think LeBron.
I can't
runs-
pick against LeBron after watching him
I
play.
think
It was-
I think LeBron just finally runs out of gas. To be
and
honest
that
with you.
he
That's
absolutely might.
and
All right, here we go.
here we
got
go. We have
Roger Fry
Roger
on the
Fry.
line right now. Roger, how you doing?
How you doing, guys? I'm doing great, thank you.
Roger is how you doing, Rog? It's Brad. And best
Yeah,
to
how
you.
are you, Brad?
Roger is from CaliforniaWinning.com. They do the California tracks. Is that correct?
Yes, just the Southern California, the 3 thoroughbred tracks, and there's a reason for that. I have never believed that you can handicap for weather because, without getting into it too deeply, in a given race, probably most of the horses have never raced in the wet. And secondly, there's something called a Tomlinson rating, which I have found to be completely unreliable. The number seems to ignore what's actually happened in the wet. So since I have always tried to avoid weather, like if I were going to Aqueduct, for example, I wouldn't go if it was going to rain. So instead, I choose to wager and recommend wagering to my subscribers uh, strictly with Southern California. But I also do the three at the request of my subscribers. Last year, I started doing the three Triple Crown races as well in terms of handicapping.
Any thoughts of the Florida tracks, Raj?
I had one of my subscribers, I do what's called special projects. Somebody was going to Gulfstream, and I'm pretty familiar with Gulfstream. I have handicapped it. I consider it to be like an East Coast Santa Anita in terms of the quality of the horses and the jockeys and the trainers. But again, Gulfstream has weather, particularly in the summertime, so I
Yeah.
don't normally deal with it. But I was asked to do a special project, which I did. I believe it was toward the end of the meet. There was a mandatory pick six payout, if I'm not mistaken. And somebody asked me, one of the subscribers asked me to do that as a special project. I said, sure, as long as you pay me for it. I'm already working full time handicapping, Santa Anita. So I did that, and a number of people were interested in that. But for the most part, my site is aptly named California Winning. You'll see free selections for whatever Southern California thoroughbred track happens to be in session. In other words, either Del Mar, Santa Anita, or for just a few weeks a year, they go to Los Al, which is a facility at Los Alamitos, which unfortunately has no turf track. But it's only for a short hiatus between Del Mar and Santa Anita that they do that a couple times a year. So it's not that bad.
Okay, well, Raj, let's get to the Kentucky Derby, which is what everybody here is talking about. And before the show, we kind of had a little roundtable, Rob, Frank, and myself, and we were kind of talking about all the horses that seem to be all the the same trainers. I believe there's four horses with
Pletcher
with
had
Pletcher.
4 by my count.
Yeah,
Baffert had 2.
Baffert had two, and I think Lucas had two.
Dale Romans has two. It's
Okay.
it's Romans and Baffert with two, and Pletcher with four.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, I guess my question is this: with Pletcher with these four horses, okay, has he planted a couple of rabbits here to mess up this race so that his horses have a better chance of winning?
That's always a possibility. However, I'll be a little surprised if come Derby Day, or actually, as you know, tomorrow they're selecting the post positions. So
Right.
tomorrow things become more finalized in terms of horses and jockeys that will actually run in the race. But I'll be surprised. I think if he doesn't pull one or two of those, then that's a very apt theory. But I have a suspicion that he's not really going to run all four. But we'll see. We'll know
Okay.
better probably by this time tomorrow.
Okay. Now I know it's hard for you to make selections when we don't have post position. I mean that's impossible. So I mean and I get that. But I guess my question is this: the horses that are in the race, okay, who do you feel are the most talented horses? I think
Well,
that's a
obviously,
safe question to. I think that's a safe question to ask without putting it too much on the spot.
sure, sure. Uh, Talented horses to me, a horse that's undefeated says a lot to me. It always does. And of course, not many horses remain undefeated too long. But we have two horses in the race that are undefeated, and that would be Justify and the other one slipping my mind under pressure here. Mendelssohn? No,
Mendelssohn. Okay.
Mendelssohn, yes.
Yes.
Undefeated,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
but
Yes.
the horse that's undefeated, I've always believed that certain horses, the really good ones, they know that they are supposed to beat the pack to the wire. They know what their job is,
They
and
get
the
it.
jockey is more of an assistant because the darn horse knows what it's supposed to do. So I'm impressed with them. Obviously, Justify has blazing speed. Uh, Only won the one graded race, but he won the Santa Anita Derby, which was, of course, his entree into the Kentucky Derby. He's very fast. He's got a trainer who's a legend as much as a man. The only thing is, he's uh, he's never raced in this. He's only raced in one graded race, so certainly he's never raced with this kind of competition.
So he's going up in
And
class.
Yeah, way up, and well, up from the Santa Anita Derby, of
Well,
course.
let
But
me ask you this, Raj, because I guess this is my question then. Can he get to the top?
sure, what I was going to say is my concern about him is simply, is he going to get? Well, a lot depends on the post position.
Right, right,
Uh,
understood. If he's
is he
10
going
or
to get?
closer, can he get to the top?
Yes, absolutely. The only question is he going to be frightened by such a big field, especially since he only has 3 races total under his belt. So, but he is well rested, and I give him a good shot, a very good shot. And I think Magnum Moon has a very good shot. Of course, the very early odds, to the extent they mean anything, uh, Magnum Moon is the co-favorite and Justifies the favorite. Justifies 2-1. Magnum Moon is 4-1. But the problem with Magnum Moon is he violates a precept of mine, which is that this is an old convention. A horse needs a month between races, no less than a month. And Magnum Moon is running on 3 weeks rest. There are 3 horses in the race that are running on what I call short rest, which would be 3 weeks. And Magnum Moon is one of them. So what I've just told you is the 2 top horses in theory right now, there are obvious weaknesses with both. But that's the nature of the Derby because really, probably any one of 10 horses could win this race. Probably any one of 10. In other words, when I do my handicapping, I'll probably only find uh, maybe 10 that look like they have no chance. Like there are a couple that have never won a graded race, so I certainly don't think too much of them. Obviously.
Raj, the post positions come out tomorrow, which
Hmm.
you mentioned. So for someone like me who sat down at lunch today in preparation for this interview and did some research and picked out a few horses that I liked, what should I be looking for when they draw these post positions that can either improve my horse's chances or, be an extreme detriment to one of my selections?
Well, you don't want 17 to 20. I'll tell you that. It'll be interesting if one of the top rated horses like Justifier Magnum Moon winds up in the latter in the last 4 post positions because no horse has ever won from post position 17 and only one horse has won from 19 and only one horse has won from post position 20 and 2 have won from post position 18. So that's a very deep post, obviously, in a 20 horse field. I would say that greatly diminishes, no matter who the horse is, one of those post positions would greatly diminish the chances. However, the other 16 post positions, historically since 1930, are relatively evenly distributed. I mean, I'm not a statistician, but they range from 2 winners to 8 winners. Uh, like for example, post position 6 only has 2 winners. Post position 11 only has 2 winners. But I think Brad alluded to this a few minutes ago. If you're 1 to 10, you're not hurt by that. If you're above 10, and if you're above 15, especially, your chances are really hurt.
All right, now in my research today, I came across Vino Rossi, Pletcher horse. He's my pick. That's who I'm going to bet on at the window. You give me a couple reasons why I could be right, and maybe a few weaknesses that horse has that would
Sure.
prevent him from winning, possibly.
Okay. To the extent you care about it, the early odds, and again, these are not morning line odds. Obviously, they're not out yet. The early odds, and I think I got this from CBS Sports. I got it from somewhere. Somebody's prognostication. Early odds for that horse are 12-1, if that means anything to you. So he's like mid pack. Uh, he's like in the middle, I guess you would say, or in the lower tier, better odds. That is, he would be like the seventh horse, uh, based on 12-1 odds. But looking at him in particular, obviously he's got a great trainer. What we don't know, because Pletcher has so many horses in the race, as we said, he's got 4. We don't know who the jockey is. So I'll tell you one thing that would mean a lot to me if I were you. If John Velasquez is aboard, because Velasquez is going to ride one of the Pletcher horses. So as you may know, he's the leading all-time money-winning jockey ever. So you have to think he knows what he's doing. So that would be a plus. Um, he has won 3 of 5 graded races, I believe, and not too many of our entries have won 3 graded races. In my early research, I found that out. So I'm trying to read my notes here, and I can't read my writing sometimes. But looks like he won. Looks like he won 3 of 5 graded races. But that's something you could look at. You probably have the Brisnet early uh, past performances that you're looking at, so you can see that on there. So I would say, I mean, the price is going to be good. He's not going to be, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 2 kind of horse. He's got a great trainer, and he could have one of the world's best jockeys aboard. So actually, if Velasquez rides, I don't think he's going to go off. I think this 12 to 1 would not be the case.
Right,
That,
and my selection, I mean, everything I looked at in my research, obviously I'm not an expert handicapper like yourself, is I'm working on the assumption that Velasquez is going to be on
hmm
Vino Rossi. So that's one. And
He should be like 9-2 then. No,
Yeah,
I would think.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm your average, track.
Yeah.
I'm looking to hit a home run.
Gotcha. Raj, I guess here's my question for you. Okay, and I haven't really handicapped the race myself yet because I want to like you. I want to see the post positions before I want to make any comment. Who do
hmm
you think is the speed horse in this race that could, if you're looking for a horse that you might think is a long shot, or you consider a long shot, who is the speed horse that could possibly get to the top and steal this race? Is there a horse of that caliber in there?
yeah. I thought you were going to say who's the speed horse and leave it at that. That would
Well,
be
yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
That's
yeah.
justify.
Okay, well, yeah.
Justify. But that's not the. But that's the favorite, not a long shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you. Just give me a second. I'm looking at some Brisnet numbers. Well, Bolt de Oro is not a long shot. It's 5 to 1.
Okay,
Bolt
but
de
I
Oro.
mean, other than the favorite, who you would think is, I mean, usually favorites try to get favorites to the top in the Kentucky Derby because they want to avoid the cavalry. So that's just common sense. But who do you think could get to the top and maybe steal this race from Justifiable?
Okay. The answer to that is Salamini. It's a Baffert horse. That says a lot right there. Um, I guess. Oh, Flavian Pratt will be aboard. I don't know how familiar you guys are. He's one of my favorites out in Southern Cal. Excellent rider. Uh, but he's got speed, and he will be a long shot. I think the early odds on him are 20 to 1. So that definitely fits your definition of a
Yeah,
long shot.
yeah.
And the reason he'll be a long shot is he's only won 1 of 6 races. So
Okay, that is
y-
really a long shot then.
yeah, except it's Baffert and it's a definite speed horse. Looking at I mean, to be honest, I use the buyer numbers a lot, and that's why I haven't really handicapped it because they won't come out until the post positions come out, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
But I'm looking at Brisnet numbers, which I understand are pretty reliable, and Salamini ranks pretty high compared to most of the others. The only ones higher would be Justify and Bolt Dioro, maybe Magna Moon and Good Magic and Noble Indy. So
He might be a
anytime you
good
have,
one. He might be a good one for a triple then.
yes,
Okay.
because that's the other thing I was going to say. I think you guys have noticed in these Triple Crown races, there was almost always somebody in the trifecta that shall we say, adjust the price nicely upward. It
Yes.
seems like if you're playing trifectas, there's always somebody in there that wasn't supposed to be.
And it's
And
usually a
Salamini,
speed horse
yeah,
that gets up there, gets in the way, and hangs on for third.
yes,
So okay, well, Raj, listen, we really appreciate your time, and folks, it's CaliforniaWinning.com. Uh, Roger
yeah,
Fry is very good. If you're into California racing, you can go to the Borgata. You can go to the Turf Club. There's also a new place in Turnersville down here. For those of you who are listening nationally, your favorite place to bet the horses. He does have his sheet. Go online at CaliforniaRacing.com and you can get his selections.
yeah. It's California Winning, and if they go to the Borgata on a Sunday, they might actually see me at the race book. I wanted to say one other thing, if I may. On my site right now, California Winning, under the section free selections, there is the Derby preview, the one that I sent you guys. So anybody who wants to see the preview, with the tentative odds and the rest status and the post position stats, the same thing I sent you, they can get that free online.
All right, Roger. Thanks a lot. Roger Fry, CaliforniaWinning.com. We look forward
Thanks, guys.
to one of my favorite days of the year, Derby Day. Love it. You get
Oh, it's always a lot of fun.
all the pretty ladies with their goofy hats and the mint juleps and the goofy suits.
The mint juleps, yes.
Oh, I love a mint julep. Love a mint julep.
I'm not a person who likes
You
mint
gotta tip
myself,
good
but
after you get a mint julep, Brad.
well, you got to tip. Period. When
I
you're
understand, but the mint julep is they got to get in there and they got to crush up the mint and muddle it.
yeah, I'm not a mint guy, so I couldn't tell you. I've been to the Kentucky Derby.
You went to the Kentucky
I went
Derby?
to the one the year Alice Sheba won.
What year was
Was
that?
Was it 1984? I think it was 1984.
I hear they're a blast.
What was the name of the horse again?
Ali Sheba.
Ali Sheba. Wow.
Yeah, Ali Sheba.
Yeah,
The year
that's a-
Ali
I hear they're a
Sheba won
blast.
that year.
It's Triple Crown race.
Yeah.
Ali Sheba.
Yes.
Huge parties.
Whatever year Ali Sheba won, it was either 84, 83, 85. It was
87.
87. Okay. Yeah.
So did you
I did
go
not.
to the window? Did you bring home any money?
I did pretty well that day.
But not on the Derby.
Not on the Derby, but I did hit a few races. The Derby is just such a hard race to handicap because there's 20 horses, and the problem is
I thought that was interesting.
we were sitting in the infield, and it's okay. Let me just put it to you this way, okay? The derelicts that are at the track that are sitting in the infield, when the horses run by, you hear a bunch of people go, "Woo!" as the horses run by.
Right.
Like it's a
It's
big
like the
marijuana
idiots at the
fest.
golf tournament.
It's a marijuana fest with it's like a concert where everybody's just kind of like, "Ooh, the horses are running by."
Yeah.
Woo! And if you're like seriously trying to handicap the race like I am, and you can't be bothered with that stuff because at that point in time I'm too neurotic and just above it all.
Business. I love it.
Yeah.
All
I'm just
business.
neurotic and above all that. I found it a terrible distraction, so I had to. These are excuses, of course.
That's all right.
Because I was able to handicap the other races, but by then the people are just
It's like the jackasses at the golf tournament when Tiger Woods hits his drive that think it's going to go in the hole when it's a 550-yard par 5. Sounds like it's kind of like that.
yeah.
Which makes me really mad because I'm a
Yeah.
I'm
It's
a golf
just
nut.
it's distracting and annoying, and I am one of those people when I go to the track, I'm all business and not particularly friendly.
Are you
and
ever are
very
you ever,
neurotic.
though, to be fair? Are you ever friendly, to be fair?
Probably not, but
That's the deck collector in you, Brad.
yeah, that's true. That's the meanness. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was interesting that Roger pointed out that the two projected favorites on Monday, the race is Saturday, so a lot can change.
right.
We're running on what he called short rest.
Yes, that was something that I.
That would take the two favorite. Who were they? They were Justify and
Well, you can just look at the program and see that.
right. Justify was the one. I forget which other favorite he said was running on short
I
rest.
think
but
my question
they would be off
though,
my ticket.
yeah, the question I would have about that is how many races have they raced this year? If that was their first race of the year, I may not take that as abruptly as if he's had several races already this year. If he's been running like every 3 weeks this year, and this is a what do you call it, a habit, then I would agree with him about that. That could be a problem. You want to have a
It
fresh
sounds
horse.
a lot to like me when you pitch a pitcher in the playoffs on 3 days rest too many times in a row. Sooner or later, it's gonna bite you in the ass.
Well, that's why you very rarely have Triple Crown winners, because
It's true.
they're all running on short rest, and you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming in against you that are fresh and just waiting for you. And he's right.
The
though.
Derby's
That's-
always a minefield. There's always 20 horses, 15,
Yeah.
16, 17, 20 horses in the race.
and there's so many frauds that are gonna just try to get to the top just to mess up the race. And I guess what I was trying to get at Roger, and he did help. He did help clear that up. Was
Yeah, you gave
who's
great
going to
insight.
Who's going to sneak up and get to the top, and maybe be able to either steal the race or get in the money for a triple. And that was a good one, because I always like to see those kind of things, because you know what, if you watch these races enough, you know that especially in a 20-horse race, if a horse gets to the top early, generally speaking, they're going to do okay, because they're going to be sitting there, they're going to be sitting in the pocket, and they're going to be setting the pace. And the other horses, the big horses will eventually get there, but you never know. I mean, they can encounter traffic when you're sitting on the front end. You're not. There's no traffic. You don't have the other horses to distract you, and that's important. Yeah, that's why a lot of times Kentucky Derby horses, the favorites always try to get to the top.
So we gotta watch the post positions tomorrow and make sure none of my picks here in 17.
Yeah, because he told
17, 18, 19th, or 20th.
Yeah, it's real hard.
That sounds no good.
Yeah, it's basically like if you watch harness racing. Okay, I don't know if you ever watch harness racing. If you're running in the 8-hole in harness racing, you're screwed unless your horse is just such a beast that he can get to the top or get a real good pocket, so that he can get a spot. He's dead. He has to either be second or fourth, or he's going to be eighth for the whole race.
All right, let's kick it around here. Celtics Sixers tied midway through the second quarter, knotted at 33.
Low scoring game. That's the kind of game that the Celtics can win. So they are playing Celtic basketball at present. So if you're a Celtic fan, this is what you really want to see. You don't want to see it being in the high 40s right now. So, I mean,
the Sixers are the only game in town tonight in terms of the NBA. The Warriors are going to play the Pelicans in Game 2. That'll be tomorrow. Steph Curry will be playing.
Wow.
Tonight in the NHL, Tampa Bay leads Boston 2-1. Tampa's really got to get this game.
Tampa must win game for Tampa. You don't want to go down 2-0 going into Boston. I would expect Tampa. It has a professional victory tonight, probably maybe 4-2, 5-3. I would expect nothing less. I still think the Tampa Bay Lightning are the best team in the NHL and are going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't care that Boston beat them the first game. Tampa Bay can definitely go into Boston and win. I can't even explain why Vasilevsky had such a bad game on Saturday, but it happens sometimes. I don't think it's going to happen again.
And the Sharks got a monster win Saturday night after their horrendous 7-0 loss to the Las Vegas Golden Knights in Game 1 of that series. Series tied at 1, going back to the Shark Tank in San Jose. They'll play Game 2 at 10 o'clock Eastern Time tonight.
I'll tell you what, that is going to be that's a big game for the Knights. The Knights really need to win Game 3. You don't want to be in a position where you end up having to fight to be 3. Where if you lose, you're down 3-1. You want to win that third game. I personally would have taken the Sharks in the series if you had asked me at the beginning. I didn't like the Knights to beat the Kings. They shocked me and destroyed the Kings, and then they went and destroyed the Sharks in the first game. Sharks are a real good team. I mean, we know how good the Sharks are. If the Knights can beat them, boy, that would be impressive. I mean, I'm rooting for them. I hope they end up representing the West. That would be just an incredible story. But they're really going to be up against it. San Jose is just so loaded. They've got so many great players on their team now.
Yeah, I hope the Knights win everything.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I just love watching. Yeah, it's just such a fun story to watch. And those fans there, they've been there every game. They've supported the team. I mean, and it's a lot of fun. And boy, I got to tell you, the Nashville Predator fans are still my favorite fans.
You mean you mean besides the Philadelphia fans?
No, my favorite fans are the Nashville Predator fans.
Oh, I thought you loved the Philly fans.
No. They don't.
No.
They're.
My
no.
mistake.
I don't want to go there. I'm trying to be nice. I'm going to leave it at this. Okay. Watching the goals being scored by Nashville yesterday and just being reminded of that chant all the time. It's just it's hilarious because it's so annoying. I can if you're the other team, you just want to punch somebody in the face.
It's
when
a
they throw at
chant
their goalie.
that's annoying yet demoralizing.
I hate
Yes.
that chant because you know what? If the Flyers fans did a chant like that, you would say it was mean and out of line, and you shouldn't make fun of the other players like that.
They've
I
been
hate the
doing this.
chant.
They've been doing this since they got into the league.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
When was that? 2
98.
years ago?
98.
They've been doing it forever. I mean, it's hilarious. And they sit there and they'll say the goalie's name 3 times, and then they'll say, "What you stink? It's all your fault," or
You
something.
suck,
No,
it's
you
all
suck.
your fault.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's all your
It's
fault.
a good chant.
It's hilarious.
All right, tonight in the NBA, Phillies down 6-4 in the bottom of the 5th to the Marlins. That would be a bad loss with Jake Arrieta on the mound. Cleveland up 3-2 on Texas. Colorado and Chicago 2-2. That game's on ESPN. Washington 3-1 over the Pirates. That's in the top of the 7th. 5-3 Reds over the Brewers. The pitchers duel in Detroit. Tampa Bay 0-0. That's in the bottom of the 7th.
How about Tampa Bay winning 8 in a row?
It's unexplainable.
Really,
The
is.
team absolutely has zero talent.
Yeah.
Zero. None.
Almost swept Boston.
Speaking of the Red Sox, they're in an absolute slugfest right now with the Kansas City Royals of all teams. 7-5, end of 4.
How are my Yankees doing?
They're down 1-0, bottom of the 4th. Not insurmountable. Then you got the Jays up 2-0 in Minnesota.
So Sonny Gray's only given up 1 run in 3 innings.
Sonny Gray is a good pitcher. You make these knee-jerk snap decisions after a few pitches of the season.
He has been so bad.
It's April 30th.
To tell you how bad he is, I could have had him pitching twice this week on my fantasy team, and I have him on
And
the
you
bench.
benched him like a
I
moron.
benched him. Yes, I
Yeah.
did because I can't stand watching him.
Good. He's going to get a quality start tonight. You're going to miss out on 4 points, and you probably get a quality start his next start. He'll probably get at least 1 win because of how great the Yankees hit the ball. So
Yes,
That's
but
it.
he's gonna. But my whole thing was he's pitching against Cleveland and he's pitching against Houston, which are 2 of the best hitting teams in the league, and he hasn't been able to get anybody out this year. And every week's been a negative for him. So, of course, if I don't play him, that would be the. I mean, as a Yankee fan, if he pitches great, I'd be happy because I want to see him turn it around. But
Sonny Gray, he could be fine. He'll be fine.
I hope so.
Relax. It's going to be fine.
I hope so.
Arizona and the Dodgers, they're going to play at 9:40 tonight.
By the way, did you
Out in
hear
the Arizona.
about Corey Seager?
Corey Seager is done, folks. The Dodgers are in real trouble.
Corey Seager is out for the season.
Probably more than the season. Tommy John surgery?
For a shortstop.
I'm not
Well,
sure if it was.
Torres had.
Torres had it on his non-throwing.
Yes, it was his non. Yeah, it was his non-throwing arm.
I mean, we're gonna get into more of that hopefully if there's time after NFL Draft Talk after the break on YouTube. But the Dodgers are in serious trouble. So are the Nationals. These are 2 teams I thought were gonna.
What are the Nationals now? 12 and 16.
They are 6 games back in the NL East.
I mean, it's
exact
not
win-loss
insurmountable, but
record
they-
escapes my mind right
They're
now.
like I think they're like 11 and 17 or 12 and 16.
It's something like
They-
12
they
and
have-
16, I think it is. Now
they
that I
have
think
not
about it.
been good, and there's really no excuse. It's not like they've been. I mean, they haven't. Well, they don't have Dan Murphy, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Rendon's on the DL too. But
Oh, is he? Okay, I was not aware of that. That's a lot of.
But-
that's a lot of offense to miss. but their
anyway,
pitching
we're going
should
to
be
take
good.
our break. We're going to come back exclusively on YouTube, talk about the NFL Draft, maybe get into some hockey and baseball as well. But Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, the Sports Hounds, will be back after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, welcome back. Sports Hounds taking you to 10 o'clock. Had a Kentucky Derby preview. Talked Sixers Celtics. Sixers at 6 seems to be the consensus. Except for Brad, he likes the Sixers at 5. Sixers at 6 seems to be the consensus on Facebook. As always, wow, look at those new graphics. Nice. New graphics package on YouTube.
Yes.
That's good stuff, man.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Look at that. It's everything we're going to talk about right there.
It's everything we're going to talk about so we don't lose track.
You can't get confused. It's impossible.
And for
Well,
those who are trying to catch up on, oh,
do
what
this-
about this segment? I
You do
did.
this for Brad because he gets confused on the air all the time.
I get confused
Nah, it's
easily.
for everyone.
I get
Um,
confused easily.
Yeah,
All right,
it's,
so
it's
look
for
at that.
everyone. So
We
So
got an
everybody can
NFL
keep
draft
track.
Recap.
there we go.
Frank Vesby, our resident college football nerd, he's going to join us for this segment as well.
Yes.
Let's
get
start
that.
with the East and kind of work our way out.
All right, here we go. We got a draft recap. There we go.
I thought the Giants won the draft. As much as that pains me to say, as an Eagles fan, I thought the Giants got an A triple plus on the draft. They got the best player in the draft. They got a 2-time All-American to play. I guess he's going to play left guard, Brad, Will Hernandez.
He's going to play left guard.
They got a linebacker, edge rusher. That's going to be a perfect fit for their new 3-4 defense. Is it Javon Carter?
Trevon Carter.
Trevon Carter. Excuse me. I don't know much about the guy. I do know every time I turned on Georgia, him and the guy that went 9th, Roquan Smith, to the Bears. Those
Smith
two
was
were making plays
Smith was
all
an
over the
absolute
place.
beat. I do remember Smith. Quite honestly, I don't remember Carter as much, but I do remember
Right, well, I
Smith
mean,
was
yeah, I
Smith
mean,
is an animal. I mean, that guy.
Obviously, Smith made more plays. He went 9th
he
overall.
was.
Carter
No, he was
went
really. Yeah, I remember him a lot more than I
They
remember.
picked a developmental quarterback from Richmond.
Yeah, who
Frank's
actually
heard of
had
him. You've heard of him.
who actually he was
the
the Senior Bowl MVP.
Well, that's something.
And
Yeah.
and he also had set a record for the highest accuracy rate, I guess, at Richmond in their.
Yes.
What level
their
is that?
history,
What level is that, Frank?
They are FCS.
That's like Villanova and Delaware.
Villanova, your
It's
Delaware's, your North Dakota State.
Yeah.
It's still D1.
Still D1.
It's not D2. D2.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
D2
one.
would be like
D2's
your
like-
Westchester.
So he'd be like he's like playing in the same against the same kind of competition as like Wentz was then.
Yeah.
sort of.
Correct.
So I'm not saying he's Wentz, guys. So take it easy, okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Wentz was the second pick in the draft,
You're
but
good.
we'll see about him. I mean, they have Davis Webb. They have two guys who they're gonna give a shot to see if they can play. But Eli Manning's the quarterback. The Giants are planning to have him as the quarterback next season.
Now, this is what I want to get
Barkley
to.
is the key.
So I think they could hit it. It got an A triple plus. I don't understand the sentiment, the narrative that some Giants fans are creating that they didn't like the Barkley pick.
No,
I
there are
don't
a lot of
understand.
Giant fans and
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
people are really mad, huh?
yes, a lot for some
Well,
reason, and even
I mean, like, what the fuck?
even I
Why
was
they
listening to
didn't
I
pick him?
was listening to FAN, and this one crazy Giant fan said I am the most embarrassed I've been in my 30 years as a Giant fan that we have a 37-year-old quarterback and we're drafting a running back in the first round, and I'm sitting here saying to myself, this guy could be the best running back coming out of college, and he might be the best running back in the NFL since one Jim Brown in 1957. And you guys are going to sit here on draft day and complain? This guy is great. If he stays healthy, he's going to be an all-time great.
Now, I said last week that I thought I was sipping Tom Arnone's Kool-Aid a little bit. Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback in the draft. Took me longer than Tom to get there, but I did definitely get there.
Well, the
I
Browns
think
agreed
Baker-
with you.
That doesn't mean you have to take him first overall. I think the
No.
biggest losers of especially Thursday night, 'cause that's the first round, anyone who picked a quarterback in the top 10 lost big time.
What do you think? You think that the Cardinals lost picking Rosen at 10? I don't think it was a bad pick for the Cardinals at 10.
I don't like that guy even a little bit. I didn't like him going in. I thought he was a little bit of an oddball. And the interview that he conducted after he was picked by the Cardinals, I thought he came off as a complete douche.
Well, I'll tell you what. My brother-in-law lives in California. I have a brother-in-law in California with my sister. They live out in down at right between San Diego and LA.
Okay.
And they watch a lot of UCLA and
Okay.
they watched a lot of USC. And they were saying, and my brother-in-law said that Rosen is a scumbag. Nobody likes him. Nobody
And
in
I can
California
see
likes
why.
him. Everybody
Frank,
loves.
did you see what I'm talking about?
Everybody
Like when
loves
they did, I
Darnold
think
though.
Susie Colbert was doing them. Like after they get picked, they interview him.
Yeah.
And he just went on this like malicious tirade about how he should have got picked instead of Allen and Mayfield and Darnold. Like, I mean, he didn't say anything
Right.
bad, but
He didn't
you
say
know,
anything bad, but
he didn't say anything about being excited to get to the Cardinals and work hard.
right.
He didn't say anything about fitting in with the teammates. He didn't say anything about trying to win. He didn't thank the Cardinals for moving up to pick him.
Yeah.
Nothing of that narrative at all. It was all, fuck this, fuck that. I'm
Pretty
better than this
much.
guy, this guy. He came off as a complete douche.
Yeah, he did.
At Darnold, by the way, they're saying that when he was at USC,
Darnold
he
is
was one of the
just-
nicest kids. He's very coachable. He listens to everybody. That the guy, if the Jets get the right coaching, he's going to be a real
I
good
think
quarterback.
that's fantastic.
And-
I don't think he's worth the third pick in the draft.
I don't know that he is either, Rob. I mean,
I certainly
I'll-
don't.
obviously-
I think Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback in the draft.
Dave Gettleman said
I
something.
wouldn't have taken Baker Mayfield with the first overall pick in a million years.
Yeah, Dave Gettleman said something that I found very interesting. Okay, and he said the reason he took Barkley is because Barkley was the best player in the draft.
Not even
He
close.
Did
in my
not
opinion.
think he did not think that any of the quarterbacks that were out there were the kind of quarterbacks that he thought could be totally, that were going to be superstar quarterbacks. He wanted a superstar type player on the Giants, so he picked the best player in the draft. Now, listen, I give him credit for the courage of his conviction.
Right.
And, general managers, the good ones, are not afraid to take a chance and do what they think is the right thing. And I think if he thinks that this guy is the right guy to pick at 2, I'm all in. I mean, if this guy really is going to be like the next Jim Brown, hey, bring him in.
Let me throw it.
Northeast football.
He at the NFL Combine, which was regarded by people who value the Combine as the best NFL Combine workout ever. I think the Combine's stupid. I think it's a waste of time. I don't think you can tell. They're in
It's
shorts
just
and a
raw
t-shirt.
skills.
It's raw skill and how they can do. It's the exercise Olympics.
Right.
But he bench pressed 225 pounds. 225 pounds. I'll get it out. Hold on.
That would have been impressive if he did it
225
225
pounds
times.
More times than Joe Thomas, who's going to make the Hall of Fame. He ran a faster 40 time than Devin Hester, and he jumped higher than Julio Jones.
I mean, he's a tremendous
Those are
athlete.
eye-popping. I mean, that might be 3 Hall of Famers that I just named right there.
Yeah, he's got athletically, he's gifted, and we saw what he could do with Penn State. He could have led Penn State to a national defense.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, he could have led Penn State to a national championship
Press the
if
wrong
Penn
button.
State could actually stop somebody once in a while, which unfortunately they couldn't do. But all in all, this is a guy that can come up and he can dominate the NFL. And I get it that the Giants could have drafted another running back in the second round. I get that. I know
Yeah, but and then
Camaro is in the 5th round, but
and then I see all these things. Oh well, the difference between Sony Michel and Darius Guy, it's really not that. Yes, it is.
there is a
The
difference.
difference between Sony Michel and Saquon Barkley is, some would say, big league.
It is. And here's the other thing.
Big,
The
huge
Giants have
difference.
tried.
And that Darius Geis guy, I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't hire that guy to do my laundry.
Nah, he's a kook.
How are you going to get in a shouting match with the general manager of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia
he's
Eagles?
just stupid. But the Giants have been down this road before with running backs. They tried drafting running backs in the 4th round. Okay, they tried Andre Collins, the guy from Boston College, and then they tried Paul Pierce. Not Paul Pierce. What's his name?
Paul Perkins.
Paul Perkins. Thank you. They tried Paul Perkins. Okay, and they got him in the 4th round. And you know what? Neither one of them worked out. So you know what? When you're drafting a running back low in the draft like that, sometimes they work out and sometimes they
You're
don't.
going to run this guy. Hopefully, if Shermer is smart, which I think he's way smarter than Ben McAdoo.
Yeah,
whatever you
he
wanna
is.
call him. You got a left side of the line. You got Nate Soldier from the Patriots at left tackle. You're going to have Hernandez, the 2-time All-American, 2nd-round pick at guard. And then you got Barkley running out of the backfield. You're just going to run him off the left side, 20, 25 times a game.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe 15 to 20 because you got
Whatever.
Stewart too. So, but the thing is, the Giants now.
My point being, you can run the ball off the left side successfully, which the Giants were not able to do last season.
No, and the whole point is, you want to talk about the quarterback. Well, if you're going to run the ball 20 to 25 times a game effectively, your quarterback doesn't need to throw the ball more than maybe 25 times a game. And when you have a quarterback who can have receivers like Odell, Shepard, Ingram, I mean, he's got some pretty good players. They've got guys he can throw the ball to. Keep in mind, last year, Odell was hurt. He only played 2 games last year. That hurt the team. Shepard missed half the season. And then they had 2 other receivers, Brandon Marshall and Dwayne Harris, who didn't play at all, barely. They were also injured. So, I mean, they've kind of redone their receiving corps a little bit, but they're going to have Odell back. Hopefully Shepard will be healthy all season, and then they have Ingram. So,
And they'll sign Des Bryant.
well, I don't know about Des Bryant. They're not going to spend that kind of money. I think if the Giants have one more player that they want to spend money on, it's going to be a pass rusher. That would be my opinion.
Bob Brinkman, G-Men still have a good QB. Now they have the best player coming out, plus improved line. Both will help Eli.
I agree.
I 100% agree.
I
think
agree.
Giants fans have lost their minds if you're not. I'd be jumping through the roof if
Oh,
I
I
got
was-
Saquon Barkley.
I got to be honest with you. You kind of.
You said they should pick
for-
a quarterback last
I
week.
did, but you know what? You kind of changed my mind a little bit about it with him.
Because
And
all the quarterbacks, I mean, law of averages, 5 quarterbacks went in the first round. Law of averages.
one of them's going to be really good. You know that.
Right. You had
But-
the 4 in the top 10, then Lamar Jackson went with the Eagles.
But there's no guarantee with quarterbacks. How many first-round
No.
quarterbacks have we seen that stunk?
I think the Bills and the Cardinals wasted their picks with Josh Allen and
I'll tell you who I think. Made a pretty good pick
Darnold is maybe
at 32. The Baltimore Ravens.
See, but that they're another one of my winners, the Ravens, because they traded back a bunch, accumulated picks, and then when they saw
They got
Lamar
Jackson, and
was
he's
gonna
not
be there at
bad.
pick 32, they jumped right in with the Eagles, and you know how he was itching to move back because he lost all those picks he traded for veterans last year,
Right.
and got a quarterback that I think has a better chance to be good than Allen or Rosen.
I think he's got
Mayfield
at
and
least
Darnold,
at least an equal chance.
I think Mayfield and Darnold had the best chance to be okay, but I mean, those guys as top 5 picks, I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's about value, and are those guys really good enough to be top 5? I mean, are they top
I don't
5?
think so.
Are they
Maybe
top
I'll
5?
be proven wrong.
Are they top 5 picks because they're quarterbacks? Okay, or are they the top 5 players in the draft.
But I thought Jared Goff was going to be a stiff, and he's turning out to be a pretty good pro.
Second
So-
year, he got it. He took the
Right, when
quantum leap.
Stupid Jeff Fisher, stinky 8-8 Jeff Fisher wasn't the coach anymore. He really took off.
Yes.
Let's go to the division. Another team that I thought lost big time was the Dallas Cowboys. First off, anyone who wants to compare the draft experience that those Dallas Cowboys fans had as opposed to the party-like block party atmosphere we experienced on Kelly Drive at the Art Museum when the draft was in Philadelphia is out of their minds. What a corporate, snobbish monstrosity of an event they put on. There was
Typical-
not one football fan in
Typical
that room.
Jerry
I
Jones
guarantee
production.
you, if you weren't a brain surgeon from 9 to 5 on Monday through Friday, there's absolutely no way you could have been able to sit with. Now, they had each group of fans had like their own little pocket. No way you'd be able to afford a seat on the floor.
Well,
Probably
let me ask you a
10
question.
grand.
How many of those people do you think even could spell Michael Irvin's last name?
Probably not many, which makes me mad.
Yeah,
And
you
it
know,
makes
I
me
mean,
mad that they do what they do with the Super Bowl as well, because real fans like me, you, and Frank will probably never be able to afford to go to a Super Bowl because we don't have 20 grand lying around.
no.
It's
And
ridiculous.
that's-
So they
that's-
lost because of that, and I'm not buying what they're selling with their first-round pick. It was the 19th pick. Kyle Van Schlagen, whatever, Mr. Stinks. I play for the Cowboys now. He's a one-year starter at Boise State. He was from such a small school in South Dakota that they had to play 8-on-8 high school football. Now, for those of you who are new to football, football is supposed to be 11-on-11.
Right.
8-8.
8-8 is for practice.
Really only had one good season at Boise State. They totally neglect wide receiver, which Dak Prescott desperately needs. They got DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley. I think they were 1 and 1A as terms of receivers in the draft, and they pass on him for this linebacker who, I mean, Frank pointed it out when we were talking about
Van
it
Der Esch.
pre-draft. Van Der Esch, yes, thank you. A guy who's going to need to develop. They already have a developmental guy in Jalen Smith.
And by the way, their offensive line is starting to get old.
It's getting older. I mean, I didn't like the pick by the Cowboys at all.
Nah, I don't think that they
I thought they really
I don't
needed
think
to
they
add
improved.
a playmaker to their offense to pair with Zeke.
they have not improved themselves at all.
I thought they did a bad job.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that they've improved themselves.
I
Tavon
really-
Smith is not the
Yeah, they trade for Tavon Austin.
sorry, Tavon Austin. He's not the answer, folks.
They trade Ryan Switzer, who they picked out of North Carolina last year, to the Oakland Raiders. I mean, I would take Ryan Switzer on my team before I took stinky, overrated Tavon Austin. I mean, I just don't know what they're doing down there in Dallas. I think they solidified last place in the NFC East.
Really, you think that they're going to be behind the Redskins?
I do.
The Redskins are going to be a lousy team this year.
I don't know about lousy. I mean,
Well, they're not going to be good. I mean, Alex Smith.
maybe giving the ball to Zeke 35 times a game, maybe that'll give him third place over the Redskins.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Smith. How much faith do you have in Alex Smith? He's okay,
like,
but
my confidence in Alex Smith is like way up here, and then my confidence in Dak Prescott is
okay, but
through the
your
floor.
confidence in Alex Smith may have had
through
something
the
to
floor
do with
down.
they had Tyreek Hill on that team. It's not the middle of football season, so I can't remember all the real
Kareem
good
Hunt,
players.
good rookie. They have
Travis Kelce. I mean, they have a lot of playmakers in Kansas City.
I get it.
Where are the playmakers in Washington?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah,
They're gonna
I
have to
mean,
figure that But I didn't like what the
And their
Cowboys
defense
did on
isn't good.
draft day at all.
no, and I don't think the Redskins.
The
They
Redskins
did get a
okay.
beast. They did get a
They
beast.
get the dude from Alabama, then they get the head case Darius Geis in the second round. A C plus, B minus type of draft. We'll see if they can put it all together. But I mean, I thought the Eagles got a B on a scale of 1 to 10.
I think that the Eagles did okay. I think at this point the Eagles were smart. They have most of the their shopping list has already been done.
Yep,
So
19 of 22 starters
yeah,
coming back next year.
they went and they loaded up for next year. They're figuring that the guys that they have right now are good enough to get back to the big dance again, and they don't really need to start ushering in and ushering out guys. So they loaded up for next year's draft. Very smart
Right.
move.
The Eagles are going to have 9 picks guaranteed in next year's draft. They'll have 2 2s, 2 4s, and 3 6s. They also expect to add 2 compensatory picks, which could range from rounds 3 to 7. They'll probably be close to the 7th round range. But you know,
Listen,
who
the
knows
more
with all
the
those
more
contingencies.
prospects you can
So
add
you're
to the
talking
pool.
about potentially 11 picks in one draft. Howie is salivating for that. I mean, unfortunately, I gave him a B. I like Goddard, the tight end, addressed a need. I thought they did a good job trading back.
Oh, I think they did too. I'll say this: the one team that I thought did a nice job in the draft were the Baltimore Ravens.
Right. I really like their
yeah.
trade.
That was smart to sneak in there and grab Lamar. Lamar Jackson at 32 is a good pick.
Who do you think had more rushing yards in college, Saquon Barkley or Lamar Jackson?
Really? Are you serious? Lamar Jackson
The
had
answer is Lamar Jackson.
really. I
That is
wasn't aware of that.
correct.
Do you think he runs a little too
Let me
much for
check
the
myself
NFL?
Here, make sure I didn't read stats wrong.
Okay, because I'm just thinking. Do you think he might run a little too much for the NFL though?
Oh well, he can't just
'Cause he
take
can't
off
be-
and run.
Yeah, he can't be doing that in the NFL. He'll get killed. But that's a guy who's got a lot of talent, and that's a worthwhile gamble at the 32 spot than picking, in the top 10.
Then
Picking guys in the top 10.
stinky, overrated Josh Allen, 7th overall in the draft.
Josh Allen, who went to Wyoming.
I don't
I-
understand that pick. I don't know what the Bills are doing. Just pretty much giving away Tyrod Taylor for this guy. I mean, this guy is going to lead you to the promised land. Josh Allen.
I'll tell you what, the Bills have.
I saw him at the draft.
Bills have. How many quarterbacks have the Bills been through in the last 10 years? Well, the Bills are approaching jet territory with all the quarterbacks that they've drafted that have been busts lately. Bob says that the Eagles were built to win next year with the players that they are getting back, and we should not have many holes to fill on the roster. Exactly, Bob. That's why it's not critical for them to be worrying about who they drafted this year. Obviously with age, all these guys are going to be a couple of years older after this year from last year. That's when some of these guys might start showing their age a little bit at the end of the season. That's when you start moving some guys in and moving some guys out. I would definitely trust Howie. Obviously, he's got them a Super Bowl, so I wouldn't worry about what he does. I think he's got the whole situation totally under control.
Yeah, that is a correct stat.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
then
cross-referenced it with a couple different websites now.
that tells you a lot. But remember, he better not be running for a lot more yardage than Saquon in the NFL, because he may end up on a stretcher by the end of the season if he tries to do that in the NFL. Now, if we to go back to the NFC again, some of these other teams that
It was close.
the
but
Tampa Bay
Lamar
Bucks.
Jackson did have more.
The Tampa Bay Bucks.
I thought that the Bucks did fine.
They're
really
they
loading
draft
up in
two?
the trenches. They're copying the Eagles.
Yeah, they
signed
also
Vinny Curry and Bo Allen from
they
the
also drafted
Eagles.
2 linebackers, I believe, didn't they?
Yes, and they had extra picks.
Yeah. So
They had an extra 2nd-round pick, which they did well with.
They had a strong draft. They drafted a couple of stud linebackers. Watch out for them. They're going to be better.
Yeah, but they have Jameis Winston.
You don't like Jameis Winston?
Not really, no.
Well, you know what? This is a big year for him. This is kind of the year that he needs to either break out and be a top-notch quarterback, or you really start having to question them, because wasn't he the first pick in the draft?
Correct.
See, he's another quarterback that first pick in the draft.
The Bucks did do good. They got my man Ronald Jones with the 6th pick in the 2nd round. They had Carlton Davis. They had 3 2nd-round picks.
See, I pay attention.
I would have to look up how they stumbled upon 3 2nd-round picks.
They did a nice job.
Especially with the 6th pick in the 2nd round.
Yeah, they did a
Ronald
nice job.
Jones, he's a back.
The Bucks had a strong draft. Their defense is going to be significantly
MJ
better.
Stewart, cornerback. I don't know much about him, but Carlton Davis was on Auburn. He's 6'1", 6'2", 210 pounds. That's a big boy at corner.
That is a big boy at corner. I'm just trying to think. Some of the other teams. Some of
I
the
thought
notable.
the Seattle Seahawks had an awful draft.
You don't like what they did?
I don't know what they were doing. I never even heard of their first round pick.
Okay.
I'm not a guru like Frank is with the college football, but I'm certainly no slouch either. And they called that name in the first round. I had no idea who that guy is.
How did San Francisco
What was
do?
his name?
Rashad Penny from
Rashad
San
Penny,
Diego
San Diego
State.
State. How good could that guy be? Donald Pumphrey had all those records at San Diego State.
I mean, everybody thought that Penny, he was going to be one of the better backs in the draft. Some saying that he was a bit better than Pumphrey going into this draft, but I was pretty surprised that he was taken 27th overall. A lot of people thought he was going to go maybe second round, maybe third round, but 27 definitely surprised me during the draft.
And, this isn't like the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl for them years. This team has holes. Like, this team this team is nowhere near loaded like it used to be. Richard Sherman's not there. Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor seem to always be hurt. Along with the Giants, they had one of the poorest offensive lines in the entire league last year. They had no running game. But, I mean, they decided to go with a third-round running back.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I thought the Steelers didn't have a good draft at all.
A lot of trades too. That really surprised me a little bit.
Martavius Bryant. Speaking of the Steelers, Martavius Bryant goes from the Steelers to the Raiders. Classic John Gruden right there, taking on Martavius Bryant. They get a third-round pick for him. I'm surprised they got that high of a pick because he's been on the trade block ever since he got suspended for his second marijuana incident. So that was a good job by them to get a third-round pick. But, they take the developmental guy and Rudolph. If I was going to take a quarterback outside of the first round, I would have taken Luke Falk out of Washington State. No, you're not feeling him?
I mean, Luke Falk, I thought he was going to go to the Pats, but yeah.
The Pats, did they pick a quarterback?
They did take a quarterback in the seventh round.
They wanted the kid the Giants drafted.
Kyle
Kyle Lauletta.
Kyle Lauletta.
Laletto. Yeah,
Yeah.
they wanted him. They
should have picked him then.
No, I'm just saying they were definitely.
Yeah, I know they were
in the
very
market
high on
for him.
Lauletta. I know that they were also high on Luke Falk as well.
So I mean, he would have fit into their system if the reports are accurate about the kind of quarterback they think he can be. So
right.
I mean, and the Steelers also got James Washington. I would assume to be the big play receiver next to Antonio Brown. But I'm not sure why he went all the way in the third round. Middle of the college football season.
Did I hear the Steelers picked a quarterback?
They did. They picked Mason Rudolph out of Oklahoma State.
Okay, and he's pretty good, is he not?
Frank, what do you think about Mason Rudolph?
I mean, my opinion with Mason Rudolph, I thought he would have been taken probably by Arizona. I just got to do something real quick. There we go. I mean, I thought Arizona would take him probably with one of their picks and everything.
I mean, are you surprised he went in the third round?
Not really. I knew he was going to be like a second round guy, maybe a third round, but I know people saying first round. It's like, all right, it might be a bit of a reach, but I could understand why, especially some teams, especially Arizona, were high on him.
Okay. I thought the team that went to the playoffs last year, Atlanta Falcons, had a fantastic draft.
Yeah, I've heard that they
fantastic
did pretty well.
draft. They take Calvin Ridley, stud receiver out of Alabama.
Just what they need, another
Isaiah Oliver,
big-time offensive player.
Yeah.
Isaiah Oliver is a guy that I've researched quite a bit because there was rumblings that the Eagles might be interested in him at pick 32. Obviously, it didn't work out for the Eagles there, but they grab him up in the second round.
Have they improved their defense at all, you think?
Yeah, I mean, that corner's good. I mean,
because I think that was where they needed to.
The Falcons were a really good team last year. They just got bested by the Eagles on the
Yeah.
road in the playoffs.
They gave the Eagles one hell of a fight, though.
Right. They lost 15-10.
Yeah,
I guess
mean,
that's their thinking in grabbing Ridley in the first round. Score a little more points, be able to punch that ball in against the Eagles, and
maybe
maybe
try-
they're in the Super Bowl.
maybe try
for
getting
second year in a row.
maybe try getting home field advantage this year instead of playing on the road in the second round.
Well, maybe Frank can fill me in on the Saints pick because I don't know much about the Saints pick, and they moved up a whopping 13 selections.
The first round pick.
Yeah, Marcus Davenport
Marcus
from Texas
Davenport.
San Antonio. Don't know much about him. He's
Everybody,
got a high motor and gets a lot of sacks.
well, he was projected to be a mid-first round guy. I know the Saints are trying to look to improve that defensive line a little bit. So I think that was a pretty smart pick on the Saints' part. And
Yeah, the Saints' defense was a lot better last year
Yeah.
than it's been in years past.
yeah, they're definitely adding on with younger talent, and especially with a talented guy like Marcus Davenport. Surprisingly, out of a team that's only had a football program for not even 20 years, and that's saying something on how far UTSA has been as a football program
Well,
overall.
listen, you know what? You can never tell. I mean, look at Texas El Paso. They lost.
Yeah.
They were 0-12 this year, but yet the Giants' second-round pick, Will Hernandez, was an All-American 2 years in a row as an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can't always go by that or the records because you don't necessarily know about certain guys in certain positions. But I'll tell you what, these draft guys, if you have talent, they will find you. It's amazing. The Jets, the guy the Jets picked up in the third round, I can't remember his name now. I mean, he went to school for 2 years at Hays State or something like that.
Fort Hays State, yeah.
Yeah. He went to school for 2 years, then he ran out of money, so he got a job for 2 years, and then came back and played his last 2 years of football, at that school, and then the Jets drafted him third. I mean, what a bulldog he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't know how good a player he's going to be, but you know what, you got to figure that guy's got to be one heck of a bulldog to go back and keep the dream alive, and then to get drafted in the third round, no less. I mean that's got to tell you something.
Now, some of the other stories I know, the one other story I know people are talking about Mo Hurst, who got drafted by Oakland. He fell down the draft boards. I think he didn't get drafted until like mid fourth round. Mo Hurst, everybody thought, he's going to be a first round guy, but then it was discovered that he had a condition similar to what killed Hank Gathers, formerly of a Loyal Marymount. So people were like, we don't know how his health is going to affect him when he gets drafted. So a lot of teams were just passing on him. I legit felt awful for him, especially like the where he was going to be picked and him slipping to the fourth round. That really says something. But I'm glad that he got drafted, and especially the pick right after that, Shaquem Griffin. A nice little story right there.
Right, and I wish
Yeah.
he didn't go to the slimy, scummy Seahawks.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll is just so unlikable.
Yeah.
And
Not a fan of Pete Carroll, but I mean,
They have
it
both-
gives him
they
an
have both of
opportunity to
them.
play with his. I mean, it gives him an
yeah,
opportunity to play with his
it's
brother.
fantastic.
Yeah, is he going to make the team though?
Yeah, I think he's going to make the team.
I use what, fourth rounder?
Fourth rounder.
Yeah,
he
fourth
might
And,
make
rounder.
and plus,
team
the
then.
Seahawks have struck gold with late round picks.
Yeah, they really have, especially their defense.
Yeah, especially with their defensive picks. So I think he's going to stay.
The last team I want to talk about as a big-time winner was the Denver Broncos. They get Bradley Chubb, best pass rusher in the draft. They get Cortland Sutton in the second round,
Denver had a very
great
solid
receiver. But, they were picking the top 10, and they didn't reach for a quarterback. They're going to rely on Case Keenum, a guy they signed as a free agent.
See, Denver was smart. They had a
And-
plan, and they did what the Giants did. They picked, in their opinion, the best player in the draft that was left. And I mean, sometimes the quarterbacks are not necessarily the best players in the drafts. Just because they're quarterbacks, it doesn't mean that they're the best players in the
This
draft.
year more than ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that's what the Giants were trying to tell you, and I think that's probably what Denver was trying to tell you.
I think some really good football players dropped down to the playoff teams and the borderline playoff teams that weren't quarterbacks that slipped down just because, they didn't play quarterback.
Precisely, and
what did that monster Tremaine Edwards from Virginia Tech? He went like 16th pick. The linebacker from Virginia Tech that we were talking about last week.
Tremaine Edmonds?
Tremaine Edmonds, yeah. He went like the 16th pick.
Yeah.
Just sliding down. He could be he can make
Yeah.
That guy's good enough and physical enough to make a difference. He can make enough plays for a borderline playoff team to project them into the playoffs.
Well,
that's just my.
I mean, listen, I don't disagree with you. As far as now, the one other thing I want to mention about the Giants with the quarterback, okay, is this thought that the Giants can't go back and get a quarterback. I mean, if the Giants want to get a quarterback, who's to say next year they can't trade up and get one if they really feel that there's one out there that they want to get? I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. If all these irrational Giant fans that wanted to see them grab Rosen or wanted to see them get Sam Darnold, or Allen or any of these guys, you can go and you can trade future assets to move up and get a quarterback if you think there's one out there that you want to get. I mean, the Eagles did it with Wentz. There's plenty of examples of teams who traded up to get guys that they wanted.
The way the Eagles did it, though, I mean, Howie Roseman pulled some type of Harry Houdini magic trick to get up the second pick in the draft that year.
Well, he couldn't lose because Goff ended up being pretty darn good too. So either way, if he had Goff or if he had Wentz, he's going to do okay with himself because they're both excellent quarterbacks.
Bob Brinkman, he thinks at the Bills, he thinks Josh Allen has the best chance to succeed, could be the starter by Game 5. I couldn't disagree more. I think Josh Allen has zero chance to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. Zero.
We'll see. I mean, I don't like what.
Same with Josh Rosen. Zero chance to be a franchise quarterback.
Josh Rosen, I thought had a lot of talent.
He's a douche.
Yeah,
he's going to go in there and act like that with all those veterans like Larry Fitzgerald in that Arizona locker room. He's gonna get no respect ever.
No, he won't. You're right about that.
Even if he's the second coming of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady combined, he won't get any respect from his teammates. And if you're a quarterback and you don't have respect to your teammates, you don't have command of the huddle, you're absolutely sunk.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. And you'll get hurt.
Josh Allen looked like, the poor kid. He's from Wyoming, small town. He's in Dallas with all the TV cameras in his face. He looked like he was about to wet himself, getting interviewed and waiting to get picked. Oh. I mean, sorry. Anyone who picked a quarterback in the top 10 lost, in my opinion. In other news, the Philadelphia 76ers, they're having a rough go of it, Brad, up in Boston.
Really?
70-58 Celtics midway through the third quarter. Sixers do look like they're starting to play a little bit better, but, I picked the Celtics in this game. I picked the Sixers in the series.
Oh, I still think the Celtics are I still think the Sixers are gonna win one of the first two games, and then they're gonna take over the series in Philly. David Roska, come back to me. The Flyers should have eliminated.
No, I'm not talking about the fucking Flyers anymore. We're done with the fucking Flyers until the offseason.
Are you?
I'm absolutely done. That stupid jackass Claude Giroux. I was just starting to get over it and get over the fact that they got their brains beat in by a division rival. And then he goes and opens his big fat mouth during his exit press conference and says the Flyers fans need to be easier on the team so they can play better at home. The captain who went -10.
So now we're blaming the fans.
Right. It's all our fault.
So Radko Gudas, the fact that he
that didn't have anything to do with it.
So the fact that he was Pittsburgh's best player had nothing to do with it.
He only tore our best two-way centerman's ACL in practice,
and made a beautiful pass to Jay Gensel to set up that one
great.
goal.
I'm done with the Flyers.
And
we'll do the NHL season preview of the Flyers next year.
Season. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. They're and I hate to tell you this, David, but the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is not a vintage Pittsburgh Penguin team. They don't have Fleury anymore. They don't have Daly.
Matt Murray
They
is
don't
not
have-
that good.
He's okay. I mean, but they don't have Fleury anymore, and you could see how good Fleury is because look at what he's doing in Vegas, and they don't have Trevor Daly, they don't have Cole. Benino was a very valuable fourth line player. He's not on the team either.
I don't understand. Like, does Claude Giroux have no awareness of his surroundings? Does he have no awareness of the
Just
fan
a
base,
silly-
the rabid fan base that the Philadelphia media and fans are, that they're just going to latch on to a quote like that and just bury him for it? Just keep your
just
mouth
silly.
shut and go play golf for
Just
a couple
silly.
months
Be
and
happy.
come back to
Be happy.
camp.
Be happy. Your fans actually care enough. I mean, come
No.
on.
They want us to sit there on our hands and be quiet so the team doesn't get too scared to play at home.
That's kind of silly.
It was I couldn't believe
Although
a team leader.
there are
I
a lot
couldn't
of
believe a
teams that do
team
that,
leader
though.
like that. I mean, what kind of a captain talks like that?
I don't know.
That's zero leadership.
you
That's
see-
zero intangibles. I am done with Claude Giroux.
You see teams like Winnipeg and Nashville,
No,
how good they are at home.
they're good.
They're
Very
real
good.
at
They're
home.
outstanding at home.
Vegas at home, their fans are rabid, and trust me, those players don't get scared to play at home.
Scared.
They're scared to play at home.
Oh, the fans
fans
booing us.
might
That doesn't help
boo.
us play good at
Oh
home.
my God, are you kidding me? I mean, listen.
It was a
first of all-
pathetic. It was a
of all,
pathetic.
Flyer fans are not Montreal Canadian fans.
It was
okay.
the most.
They're not. The Flyer fans are at least are fair. They boo when you play
I
like
I
crap.
never thought I would say a Philadelphia Flyers captain was soft. Claude Giroux is soft.
Yeah, that was.
He is
kinda-
soft.
That was a dumb
He is
statement.
soft, and they'll absolutely never win a cup with that guy.
Yeah.
Trade, sell high. He just had 100 points in a season. Probably going to be top 5 for the Hart Trophy. Take what you can get and move on. What the complete definition of
Well, he's not.
not a
going
winner.
anywhere. He's not.
Not a
going
winner.
anywhere.
He might as well be Alexander Ovechkin. Claude Giroux
Oh,
will
wait a
never
minute.
win anything.
Alexander
in
Ovechkin,
this league.
Alexander Ovechkin this season in 8 playoff games has 7 goals. So we need to get off.
That's
Alex
great, but
Ovechkin.
Alexander Ovechkin is not a winner.
Well, let's see what happens this year because you know what?
They're going to lose to the Penguins.
This year they're scoring. He's scoring, and you know what?
They're going to lose to the Penguins. They do this every year in the second round.
Well, let me ask. I know they do, but let me ask you this: if Evgeny Malkin is seriously hurt,
The Penguins will find a way to win.
oh, they're not going to beat them. They're not going to beat Washington without
They'll find a
Evgeny
way.
Malkin. That's asking an awful lot. That's
I
asking
get
an
your
awful
point,
lot.
though. Alexander Ovechkin, he's got the reputation of not being a winner.
He does, but you know what? This
He's not at
year-
a -10 in
this
6
year-
playoff games. I'll tell you that.
No, well,
Claude Giroux. Give me a break.
after the first 2 games against Columbus, Alexander Ovechkin has been a beast.
He's been a beast.
This playoff year,
He'll,
he's
he'll
he's
go
doing,
away again.
Well, you know what though? If he keeps scoring,
He'll
the
go
way
away
he's
again.
scoring, well, listen. If Washington's going to get past Pittsburgh, he's got to be a beast and continue to be a beast, because that's what it's going to take. But this is not a vintage Pittsburgh Penguin team. I do not in any way think that the Pittsburgh Penguins can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Boston Bruins. To be honest with you, I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think they're all that good defensively. They showed it quite a bit against the Flyers. I mean, the Flyers were able to score some goals against them. They're not the shutdown team that they've been in the past. I think I don't know if Washington can play relaxed hockey and go out there and do the job. But you know what? If they don't have Evgeny Malkin with the defense, which isn't as good as it's been in the past couple of years, they're beatable this year. They're very beatable, and I just have a feeling that team has played a lot of games the last couple of years. They're going to run out of gas. Maybe they're starting to run out of gas.
That's a good point. That's a real thing because they have played a lot of games.
They played a lot of games, and last year especially.
In the past 2 years.
Especially last year, they had 2 7-game series last year. You know, and
maybe
the Nashville
Ovi
series,
will finally make
and the-
an Eastern Conference final.
You know,
maybe
I
he'll
mean,
finally get to.
I mean, listen, I have
won't
nothing
go to the
against
cup.
the guy.
He won't win the cup.
They won't. They won't beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. I mean,
Tampa Bay up 3-2 with 2 minutes to go in the third period.
well, you never know. But as I said before, I would be shocked if Tampa Bay loses that series.
Well,
I really
you get
wouldn't,
it 1-1, and like you said, I
but
agree with you.
Are you telling me Tampa Bay can't win in Boston?
No, absolutely not. I'm not saying that
Toronto
at all.
Toronto won in Boston. Why can't Tampa Bay win in Boston?
They absolutely can, and I think they will.
You know, and at this point, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Tampa Bay still has to prove it, but they've got so much scoring from so many different
All right,
players.
we got about 10 minutes left here.
okay.
Now, Sixers fans, this is my beef with Robert Covington. We are just about to the end of the third quarter. Robert Covington has 3 points, 2 rebounds. He's 0 for 5 from the floor. He's 0 for 3 from three-point range. He's a minus 14 when it comes to his plus minus.
minus 14.
13, excuse me.
Minus that's not exactly a ringing
Now,
endorsement either.
For a guy who and look, Robert Covington's a good player. He doesn't stink. He goes out there, he tries. He's very good at anticipation, and he jumps passing lanes, and he gets steal. I get it. There's definitely a role for him in this league. But Robert Covington is a 7th, 8th man on a contending basketball team. Robert Covington should not be starting on a team that's contending for a championship. Absolutely not. He makes way too much money, and I don't understand how you can be called elite, an elite defender and an elite shooter, when you come out and you lay an egg like this in game 1 of the conference semifinal against an arch rival. I don't understand. To say Robert Covington is elite at anything is a huge stretch to me. His stat line tonight proves it. Now, some of his buddies are not pulling their weight either.
Well, they're down 10 right now. It's 79-69 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
And there's still a
In the
whole
third
quarter
quarter.
left. Maybe he can. It's 4-2 Tampa now, so it looks like they're well on
They
their
must
way
have gotten
to.
the empty net goal. So it's going to be 1-1.
They're on their way to taking a 2-1 series. But
Simmons is not having a
no,
spectacular
Simmons.
game either. 13 points, only 3 assists and 4 rebounds. Embiid's holding his
Embiid's really
weight.
the only one playing good.
Embiid's
21
holding
and
his weight.
10 through 3 quarters.
But if you take a look at some of the other guys, Covington only has 3 points in
Right.
25 minutes, and he's got 1 assist. So really, he's done absolutely nothing. Saric, 8 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Saric has been involved in playing pretty well, but I mean, really, Redick has got 13 points, but the Sixers are not are they're
This is the
they're keeping-
exact kind of game flow that could get the Sixers in trouble against this team. We talked about it at the top of the show. It's 81-67, pretty much at the end of the fourth quarter. A couple minutes to go.
yeah. I mean, at this point, the Sixers have scored.
Now,
not scored
now
more
here's
than
one I
23
don't.
points.
Here's one where I don't understand. This is where Brett Brown he gets on my nerves a little bit with his rotations. Markelle Fultz has not entered the basketball game.
No.
Hasn't entered the basketball game. What do you mean? I don't get it.
And Covington
Seems
has
like-
played 25 minutes
it-
and done absolutely
It seems like
nothing.
Fultz would be a perfect matchup to take out Terry Rozier, who's starting for the Celtics at point guard in the absence of Kyrie Irving.
Well, you would
So that's a head
think-
scratcher to me. Obviously,
do
I'm not
something like
watching the
that.
game. I'm not streaming the game either because I'm dedicated to the Sports Hounds and A2D Radio to do the best job I can. And if I'm doing that, I would just sit here and watch the game. So I'll have to watch the replay, the highlights. But I have questions, especially if they can't win this game. because Robert Covington, at least on the box score here, it doesn't look like he's really doing much of anything. And Markelle Fultz hasn't entered the game. Not sure what is going on with Markelle Fultz not entering the game. But, you know, you got Justin Anderson with 4 minutes, TJ McConnell with 5 minutes. You know, Bellinelli and Ilyasova 14, 15 minutes apiece. So you're going with a 7-man rotation.
Well, you know, maybe he'll get him in there. A final in Tampa Bay, 4-2 Lightning. So that series is now even at 1. Actually, are all the series now 1-1 in the NHL? Yeah, they're all 1-1 now. All four of them.
One of them won't be 1-1 at the end of the night. Vegas is gonna play San Jose.
Okay,
That'll be game 3.
As of right now, they all
are.
They all split the first 2 home games, so should be interesting. We'll see if the
Philadelphia
teams can
76ers
hold
are
serve.
shooting 17% from 3-point range tonight.
That's kind of like what happened in Miami that one game.
That is correct.
So I mean,
Meanwhile, the Celtics are shooting 42% from the 3-point line. Terry Rozier, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford are having field days. I don't understand why Fultz is in there marking up on Rozier.
he really should be. I mean, look,
Well,
again,
Covington sure isn't. It sure isn't.
Covington
Oh,
has 3 points.
he's an elite on-ball defender, Rob. You don't know what you're talking about. The analytics say so. The eye tests say so. Bullshit. Nothing about Robert Covington is elite. He's not an elite shooter. He's a good shooter. He's not an elite defender. He's a good defender.
Well, they need to do something to get a spark on the
He
team.
can't
right
create his own shot. 3 points. I mean, people on Facebook, these processors, they talk about Robert Covington like he's LeBron James. And 3 points, 0 for 5 and 0 for 3 from the field and 3-point line, respectively. That stinks.
now. No, that's
The only
totally
reason
unacceptable.
he has 3 points is because he was able to sink 3 foul shots.
And that's
What?
Yes, so he has no field goals tonight.
None.
That's not good.
None.
That is not good basketball.
That's unacceptable
not
from someone who's supposed
that
to
is
be.
not-
Oh, he's a 3-and-D guy. You know how rare they are?
That is not.
Yeah, they're extremely rare because Robert Covington ain't one either.
That's not championship basketball.
Now they're down 17, so that escalated quickly.
Oh boy, that's and so they.
So this is just
basically
not
starting
this
the
is
fourth-
not the Sixers' night. Hopefully Robert Covington can get his head out of his ass and play better in Game 2. I think his teammates, all of us here at A2D Radio, except Ralphie, I guess, and the entire Sixers fan base would really appreciate it, Robert, if he would just get his head out of his ass for Game 2 and actually play like a competent basketball player. That would make me happy a lot. Because I don't like ripping Robert Covington, Brad. I don't like it.
No, I understand.
He-
he's
he's
having
a-
a bad
he's-
game.
They picked him up off the scrap heap. I believe he went to Middle Tennessee State. I remember watching him in the tournament. He really developed nicely with this process. He was able to take advantage of his opportunity
Well,
and
the only-
really carve out a nice little spot for himself on a good team in the Sixers. Once this process has kind of locked in here.
Well, Rob, the only
but-
one that's come to play tonight is Embiid.
But-
24 points and 11 rebounds.
But now the fans have to realize that Robert Covington now makes $64 million. With that $64 million paycheck comes elevated expectations. If Robert Covington was just some guy that they were coming in to fill and he was looking okay and he's making the league minimum and he goes out and has a game like that, I don't care. Just come back and
He's
try
making-
better next time.
he's making more money.
He's
than
making
JJ
starter
Redick.
money. He plays. Well, he's not making more money than JJ.
How
Redick.
much is Redick making?
Well, Redick makes $23 million a year.
But he's not playing for 4 years, though, is he?
No,
Okay, so I mean,
23. That's per year. However you want to look at
All
it.
right.
We could slice that up. But my point being is, he plays starter minutes. He gets starter money. We need starter production, especially in the biggest game of the whole season.
I'll tell you what, Al Horford tonight is having.
Al Horford is a good player.
21 points.
People look at Al Horford and they say, yeah, it's Al Horford. He's a little older. He's not really great. He's a solid pro.
Jason Tatum is having a
Jason
very
Tatum,
solid game.
talk about me being wrong. I don't think I've ever been more wrong about an NBA prospect coming out of the draft than I was about Jason Tatum. I didn't think he was going to be able to.
Yeah, he's putting up a 20
I didn't
spot
think he was
tonight.
athletic enough to play in the league. I didn't think he was going to be able to shoot well enough from the perimeter to be a good player in this league. Talk about a swing and a miss by Rob. I was dead wrong. Kudos to him. He's a great player. Sixers have cut it to 12 just like that. It's the end of the third quarter. That's going to do it for the Sports Hounds. Bet smart, bet well on the Derby. We'll see you next week. I'm Rob. He's Brad. Frank produced. See you next week.